In baseball, dynasties are becoming more and more of a rarity. We are long past the days of the Yankees just stomping on 12 teams then raising another banner. In modern day MLB, it is harder than ever for teams to complete a dynasty, let alone win a championship. But with the right core and a little bit of luck, it is possible that we see a new dynasty rise in the next few years. So what's going on, everybody? It's Dawson, and today we are going to be discussing 5 teams who could be MLB's next dynasty. We will be taking a look at where each team stands now, their future, and what they would have to do to become a dynasty. This list is in no particular order, and let's go ahead and get started with number 5, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm surprised that with this core, the Dodgers haven't won a championship yet. They have gotten really close, and last year it looked like they were going to be heading to their 3rd World Series in a row until Howie Kendrick had something to say about it. With the Dodgers being so close, there has been pressure growing the last few years for LA to acquire a superstar player to help push them over the edge, and they did it. At first, the Mookie Betts trade looked like it was going to be a one and done, with Mookie entering free agency for the first time this winter. But after everything that happened in the world and the uncertainties of what could happen to free agents this offseason, the Dodgers were able to extend Betts last week for $365 million over 12 years, which was around $35 million less than what his original expected market value was. But if the Dodgers window for a potential dynasty didn't start back in the choking days, it starts right now. Including this year, the Dodgers will have at least 4 seasons with prime Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, and Walker Bueller. Even with the Mookie Betts deal on the books, the Dodgers still do have a lot of financial flexibility. Cody Bellinger enters free agency after the 2023 season, and Walker Bueller goes 1 year later. I would expect the Dodgers to extend at least Bellinger, and we will see what happens with guys like Bueller and Corey Seager. I mean, this Dodgers front office has shown unwillingness to sign players with low ceilings to long-term deals. It is also important to note that the Dodgers are constantly turning out one of the best farm systems in baseball. They always seem to be prepared to have young guys come up and fill in roster spots when they are needed. With an aging Clayton Kershaw and Justin Turner possibly leaving in free agency this year, some of those prospects will need to step up. As for the rest of the team, they could probably use another middle of the rotation guy, and another bullpen arm always helps in October. But the Dodgers are still the National League favorite, and they probably will be for a while. If they want to get this potential dynasty going, their pure talent needs to correlate in October. Number 4, the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are one of the top teams in contention for the World Series this year, but the scariest part is that they aren't even close to their full potential yet. Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, and Ronald Acuna Jr. round out one of the best position player groups in baseball. Their ace, Mike Soroka, is only 22 years old and showed potential to be even better after his All-Star season last year, and they still have prospects like Christian Pache, Drew Waters, Ian Anderson, and Kyle Wright still developing. The championship window for this team, though, is very up in the air right now. They will be World Series contenders for the next few years, but I don't think their roster right now is just there yet. Atlanta does have Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies locked up for 9 and 8 years respectively on some of the most club-friendly deals I have ever seen. I talked about it here in this video if you would like to check it out. But Freddie Freeman is a free agent following the 2021 season. I would expect the Braves to do everything they can to re-sign him, but we will just have to wait and see what happens with that. The biggest concern I have with the Braves is their pitching staff. Mike Soroka will need to continue to perform at an all-star level, but even he can't carry the staff all by himself. Sean Newcomb and Max Fried have shown signs of potential, but that's about it. They will need guys like Kyle Wright to start performing at a major league level if they want to make a World Series run. At least the bullpen did improve last year, thanks by the way for taking Mark Melancon's contract, and they did get Will Smith over the offseason. With Acuna Jr. and Albies on cheap long-term deals, the Braves will need to continue to build on their core to make a potential dynasty run, and they certainly have the money and the assets to do so. Number 3, the New York Yankees. The The Yankees were one of the teams I hesitated to put on this list, but after taking a deeper look at it, the Yanks could very well have another dynasty coming their way this decade. Right now, the Yankees have already solidified themselves as prime World Series contenders. They have the second best pitcher in New York, the rest of their rotation, when healthy, is one of the best in baseball, their bullpen is amazing, and their lineup is loaded from top to bottom. But this isn't to say that they don't have any major red flags. Injuries to their core players have plagued the Yankees the last few years. They are going to be drowning deep in some massive long-term contracts very soon, and most of their roster is heading towards the wrong side of 30. The lineup does have some young guys, including Miguel Andujar and Leiber, he is only 23 by the way, Torres. Right now, Torres has the highest ceiling out of anyone on this Yankees team. His defense does need to improve, but he sure does make up for it with his bat. As for the rest of the lineup, there are some questions. So far this year, Giancarlo Stanton has looked great, but we will have to see if he can stay healthy. And the same thing goes for Aaron Judge, who has slowly declined since his record-breaking rookie season. However, Judge is still only 28 years old, and I do think it's possible we haven't seen him at his full potential yet. Ever since he has been in the league, Judge has continued to hit the ball harder and harder, and if he is able to get the ball up in the air a bit more, his numbers could look very similar or even better than his insane 2017 season. The Yankees are kind of in a similar spot as the Dodgers right now, except financially they are tied down to a lot of long-term deals, and their farm isn't as deep with prospects as it used to be. This team is built for the first half of this decade, and if they want any chance at a dynasty, the clock has already started ticking. Number 2, the San Diego Padres. The San Diego Padres are one of the teams that are currently flying under the radar, but they are slowly becoming one of the next big MLB powerhouses. Padres GM AJ Preller has been building a unit of a farm system, and right now the organization has more depth than they have ever had. San Diego is led by young star Fernando Tatis Jr., the son of a former major leaguer, and he is one of the best all-around shortstops I have ever seen. Just the way he plays the game is different, and he is the kind of guy that you want to build your team around. Before his season was cut short due to injuries, Tatis Jr. hit .317 and slid 22 homers while stealing 16 bases. Surrounding him in the infield is Manny Machado, one of the best defensive third basemen in the league, and Eric Hosmer, who has had his struggles, but it looks like his new slower leg kick is starting to work for him. The Padres' starting rotation is led by their young ace Chris Paddack. Paddack came out of nowhere and was quietly one of the best starters in the big leagues. The rest of their rotation could use some improvements, but it's starting to look like top prospect Mackenzie Gore is going to join Paddack at the top of the rotation very soon. As mentioned earlier, the thing that is going to carry the Padres to a potential dynasty in the 2020s is their farm system. The farm is loaded with top prospects like lefty Mackenzie Gore and shortstop CJ Abrams from Blessed Trinity, one of the top high school programs in the nation. And most recently, they were able to add Robert Hassel III, who was the best pure high school hitter in the draft. If the Padres are able to have their loaded farm perform as expected when they get to the big leagues, or possibly use some of those prospects to trade for some established names, they could become a perennial powerhouse that can win multiple world championships. And number 1, the Toronto Blue Jays. The future of baseball north of the border is the brightest it has ever been. With this core and the right moves by the front office, we could see the Blue Jays become the team to win multiple World Series this decade. For the next few years, the team is going to be built upon the legacy infield of shortstop Bo Bichette, second baseman Cavan Biggio, and of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. In their rookie seasons last year, Biggio, Bichette, and Vlad lived up to all of the hype that followed them. Bichette showed his incredible defensive ability and showed enough potential at the plate last year to be a top-of-the-order guy with sneaky power. Biggio was severely underrated last year, and he finished with a .346 on-base percentage while drawing 71 walks. And although he got off to a slow start, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. still finished with a very impressive rookie season for a guy who is only 20 years old. He did have some defensive issues at the hot corner, but in the near future, I would expect Vlad to either move to first base or DH permanently. But who would fill in for him in the infield? Enter in the Blue Jays 2020 first round pick, Austin Martin. How this guy fell to number 5 in the draft where the Blue Jays got to pick him up is beyond me, but the Blue Jays got an absolute steal. Ever since he arrived at Vanderbilt, Martin has consistently been one of the top players in all of college baseball. There have been some questions on where the Blue Jays will use Martin. He was drafted as a shortstop. He has spent some time at third base, but there are some rumors that the Blue Jays are going to try him out as an outfielder. Regardless of where the Jays decide to use him, Martin should be up in the big leagues and producing right around the time they start to contend for a title, if not a little before that. But Martin isn't the only star prospect the Blue Jays have gearing up for the big leagues. Starter Nate Pearson, who looked excellent in his MLB debut this past week, is one of the top pitching prospects in the majors. His command could still use some work, but his electric fastball and nasty slider make for a great combination that will help Pearson dominate major league hitters. With the young core of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette, Austin Martin, and Nate Pearson, the Blue Jays could have one of the best teams in the majors in just a few years. And with the right surrounding pieces, we could be looking at the next MLB Dynasty. Thank you all for watching, and let me know in the comments section below if there are any other teams you think can complete a dynasty this decade. I can think of one that I will make a video on pretty soon. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a video. Thanks again, everybody, and I will see you all soon.
You got some, I wanna get to know you. You got some, I wanna kiss and hold you. Take my love, I wanna give it all to you. Got some.